Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And I apologize for the snafu at the beginning with the black screen. Did not have my camera set to stream because I was passing the time reading some comments that you guys have left on some of the videos over the last week. So I'd like to take spare time when I have it to try to answer your questions or read your comments in the videos. It definitely validates what we do here on the channel. And again, that's participation that I certainly appreciate. I'm going to let some people kind of roll in here today. Again, another impromptu late last minute notice live stream, sort of a motivational Monday type of thing. And I'm going to try to kind of mold the message to where it is motivational. But what I want you guys to do me a favor if you can. Comment your questions, of course, answers to questions, or just general comments about the topic in the chat. I certainly appreciate it. Without that participation, this turns into a 5, 10 minute, 15-minute live stream. Lately, we've been well over an hour of pretty good eBay talk, I think. And that's sort of what this channel is all about. For those of you who are watching after the fact, comment down below and let me, know your thoughts on the subject at hand. Answer any questions that may be posed during the live stream that you weren't here to participate with, and just overall let me know your thoughts. No matter how you're watching this, please. The only thing I ever ask is to hit that like button. That's real quick process, whether you're on your phone or your computer. Hitting that thumbs up, it helps the channel. And my whole goal is, I feel like we have a good channel. We basically give out a lot of, I think we share a lot of discussions and have quality information. And for me, it's about simply growing the channel, growing the community. And we have a lot of pretty awesome people that hang out with us. And for you guys, we have like 14 right now. We usually get it up to about 70-ish. Sometimes we can get up higher than that, depending on the subject material. Today, wanted to talk to you guys in general, just about this kind of the state of eBay, and that I think a lot of times in the comments that I read, and that's how I really gauge what's really going on. I mean, I have my own perspective, but that's just me, right? Sometimes you can be on an island, your own little island, and only see from the perspective that you can see from, and not even realize what Sally might be going through, Jim might be going through something entirely different. And it's through this feedback that we share that help me understand, get an idea of what you guys are thinking and the average reseller. Now, with that said, there's a lot of times I'll get comments in my, depending on the subject material of the video, and it's just really, negative, not towards me, but just in general. I'm going to quit eBay. This is the last straw. I think a lot of us have been with eBay for many, many, many years, 20 plus years. We tend to sort of take pride in that, there's nothing wrong with that. But we sort of also hold on to that as an expectation that eBay owes us something. And eBay doesn't think that way. I just want to let you guys know that. They don't care. You may call them or actually request a call back, because you can't call them anymore. You can request a call back from eBay, and the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, hello, Jim. See, you've been with eBay for 14 years. Thank you for your loyalty." That's so scripted. I mean, it is scripted. It's part of what they're required to say. And that's supposed to make things better. Now, the purpose of this channel is not to complain about eBay. And I don't want you guys to think that that's all I do. I certainly, I look at it as reporting to you guys what's happening with eBay, what eBay is changing. Along with that, it goes to basically, I have to tell you what my thoughts are on it. It's not enough for me to just come out and tell you here's what it is, because a lot of you want to know how this affects you. And I will give you my perspective, which may be different than your perspective. And that's why I asked you to share that information whenever we make these videos in the comments, because I don't have it right all the time. You guys know, been watching my videos. I will constantly tell you, I'm trying to learn. This is a very, I don't want to say selfish, but it is a selfish endeavor, and that this channel is for me to share my knowledge, but I also want to absorb the knowledge that you guys have as well. And never will you hear me say that I know it all, because I've done this since 2002 or whatever, because there's so many aspects to eBay that I haven't even had a chance to see, because I don't sell everything. You know, I sell a wide variety of things, but there's some things, heck, with these patches that you guys are tired of me talking about, you know, I didn't even learn about that aspect of the business, the collectible side of eBay, until just weeks ago. And it's a totally different animal. So I just wanted to put the message out there that you guys have to grasp and understand that eBay, they are in business to make money for their stockholders, bottom line. And they are doing whatever they can at whomever's expense to make that happen. And currently, it's at the expense of the sellers. It's been at the expense of the sellers. And you have to grasp that, understand that's part of their business model, and just don't allow it to, you can be upset about it, right? But don't allow it to make eBay sort of miserable for you, or not even a possibility for you, where you walk away from the platform. It's something, eBay is still viable. It's a very viable way to make money. Sales for me have been down. I'm down quite a bit, like 30%. But I'm not going to blame eBay for that. eBay has its shortcomings. You know, they have a platform, and there's a lot of other factors involved. You can say the economy, and I have said the economy, and that's the true statement. eBay itself is turning buyers away because of the search issues that people have seen, trying to find products, and they can't find it the same way anymore because of the way they've tweaked the search. But I also place my productivity, my sales, on my own shoulders, in that I can do better. I can. You know, it's easy to get out here wherever you work, and for me, it's in the garage, and just drag your butt. And I'm no exception to that. You know, we can be robots, and that would be an unfair expectation. But I think we need to keep ourselves in check a little bit better in order for us to be more productive, make more listings. But, you know, like I said in a couple of videos ago, it's not about the number of listings. It's about the value that you're inserting into your store. And the more value you insert into your store, the more, and that ties in with more listings, the more opportunities you put yourself in front of to allow buyers to buy your items. And then we do other things like cross-posting and things like that as well, that we talk about in this channel. But if you are constantly looking for ways to improve your business, instead of looking for or things to blame it on, or your lack of success to blame it on, then that's a big pitfall. And you're never going to grow as a reseller if you don't really look and search deep down into your own efforts to see if you've done everything humanly possible that is making your eBay business or any online business a success. So sort of a kick in the butt message, but if you have slow sales, before you blame eBay, kind of reflect back on the last week. What kind of effort did you put in day after day? Or did you just take a couple hours, do some listings, and just, you know, watch some TV for the afternoon, that type of thing? This is a full-time endeavor for most of you. And if it's part-time, you need to make most of the time you have, a little bit of time you have away from your full-time job. But if it's full-time, there really isn't any reason why you can't put in full-time effort. So hopefully that gets through to some of you guys. It is Motivational Monday, kind of get going, get started, kind of a kick in the butt to maybe refocus some of your attention on what really matters, and that's what you can control, and try to avoid spending a lot of time thinking about the things you can't. So we want to say hi to Ed, the reselling writer. Good afternoon, John. Good to see you. Nice to see you too. Thanks for hanging out. Biscuit Butt Archie's in the house. What's up, fam? Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us today. We have Hawk Feather Stories, Savage Pickers here. Hello, all. Hot Flip Heidi, your Q. I don't know what Q is, but I appreciate that. David Norman, hi John. What are your thoughts on Whatnot? I see a bunch of things selling for small profit. Glad you mentioned that. Archie and I think we're going to shoot for Thursday this week, probably around the afternoon, evening-ish. We're going to try to flip some of these military things that we have, starting at a low price. Again, we're just trying to move a lot of our inventory, and we can lot it out, I guess. I don't know how we're going to do it, if we're going to sell individually or if we're going to do little lots, but hopefully you guys can make it. I go by my name, Flippin' Ain't Easy, on Whatnot, and I haven't done a single one yet, so this is going to be totally new, maybe full of fun errors and things like that. But I think part of the experience is having fun with it, and I want to see what it's like. It's hung out with Archie on Primetime Listers auction a couple days ago. We made some bids and things like that, looking at his comics, and it was a pretty fun experience. Yes, things sell for small profit. From what I see, you have a lot of, I think some of your buyers are also in the flipping game. So you move that item that normally would sell for 40, you move it for 10 to 15, and they pick it up from you, you ship it out to them, and they'll probably flip it for some, I don't think that Whatnot is necessarily just buyers who want to keep the item for themselves. People are always looking for good deals, and I think Whatnot is no exception to that rule. So check it out if you haven't. Go on to Whatnot. I believe I have. I don't think I have. I need to put my my referral link in the video. I don't think I have any links in this particular video today. I have to go and add that. But I will add that if you want to go in and join Whatnot, just to sign up to be a buyer. I mean, check it out. If you have stuff at home, death piles, maybe it's something that you can bundle out and sell as well. But just something for you to look into. Captain Photon, I put 2% across the board at my store last night. I have -1 sales, or hopefully just one sale. But I think all you've done there is just put your name on the promoted listings list. So someone had asked me, what's the difference between, taking 2%, the minimum, and not at all? And their assertion was that it was the same thing. It's not. You're going to have the low level of people who basically are relying on low price search. So they're relying on that customer to go in and do a search by lowest to high, right? That they know how to go in and manipulate eBay search. They are pretty much turning away most hope, unless they're dealing with a one-of-a-kind item, on a best match successful search. Now you have the next tier, which is your now 2%. That started today. 2% or more will get you your bare minimum promoted listings, which depending on who you're up against competition-wise, who else is promoting that same item at what level, then you will get more views on that item than if you just did a best match search. Now, let me go back real quick to that first level where you're not promoting. You will see your search at times up there in, every so often in search. Not every search will you find your item unless it's a one-of-a-kind item without promoted listings, which is, and even with promoted listings, you won't always see your item up where you think it should be. And the thing that's crazy about it, and I'm working on a video right now. It's not one of those videos I can do in 20 minutes and then, here it is and show you guys. It's an experiment that I'm working on that is helping me understand some things about promoted listings. If you aren't promoting, or if you are promoting, I'm starting to find out one thing, that the title is even more important than you really thought it was, or I even thought it was. Those first 5 words, they really crucially need to be in line with what your buyer is going to type into search to find your item. And it's crazy, but it may sound totally off the cuff that your title may be more important than the actual promotion of your item itself, but I'm starting to become convinced of that. And can't really tell you more about it right now, but that's coming up on the channel hopefully soon. But it really depends on the experiment itself, let me just say, before I can really divulge more information. Let's see. Hot Flip Heidi says 2% what cap? P. Well, 2% promoted listing. So if you have items up for sale on eBay and you had them at 1% all this time, which was the minimum, effective today, your item is basically not even on as being considered as a promoted listed item. It's if you have your items at 1%, it's like having no promotion at all. So and I think I put a video out a couple days ago telling you do this now, and it's go into all your items. If you haven't no clue on how to do this for each of your items, if you want to get your items promoted without going through each one individually, watch the video, and maybe I'll put a link up here after the video's processed and done for later. Go in and follow that video I put out a couple days ago. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do on the computer to bulk edit. It's going to take you like 5 minutes. Bulk edit all your listings so you can get all your items that you want promoted at a certain rate. And it's definitely worth doing if you haven't done that. Doug says, hi from 87-degree UK today. Awesome. I'm so jealous. We are at 110 degrees in Vegas. You go outside and it's the equivalent of walking past an oven that someone opened. It's very hot, and it's really something that you can adapt to, but without really even feeling it, it just drains you. So if you're out in it, you might feel okay. You might have the AC on in the car, but it is just draining you. And when you get done for the day, you feel more exhausted than you would on an 87-degree day. Let me put it that way. Batman, Arizona. How to do the best play by the rules. Yes, you got to play by eBay's rules. eBay, I think, without telling you how to sell on eBay, if you look at some of the things like we talked about, the rules on best match, if you just look up best match under help and contact, and it breaks down what they consider, what you need to do to excel at best match search, without coming out and saying, this is how you improve your search ranking on eBay, they're actually telling you, this is how you improve your search ranking on eBay. And I don't think enough of us take time to really go in, look at eBay's policies, and not just read the policies, but really study the policies and see how that pertains to what you're doing, or what you're not, or the things that you're not doing. I think a lot of us ignore the one line I think is kind of a hidden gem, and that is one of the things that best match search looks for is, do you have a complete listing? Now, don't confuse that with title, photos, or required item specifics, because you can't even end your listing or launch your listing if you don't have the required parts of your listing. Complete listing to me means having a very good and clear description. And I think a lot of us are in such a hurry to list our items that we don't pay enough attention to a clear, concise description that I think a lot of people don't look at anyway because they're on the app, but the algorithm is looking for it. Okay, we have Marcy Limon. I was requested to do a Zoom call today with eBay, but at the last minute they canceled and asked if we could do the following Monday. At that point, I was worried if it was even eBay at all, so I declined. So is that like a seller check-in kind of thing? I can tell you this. They stopped even inviting me to the monthly ones. I used to get the message in my account saying, hey, RSVP. And for the winner, I actually had to go in to eBay events in Google search, find it, and then sign in and ask to join, and it allowed me to join. So I'm really interested in how that came about, where they contacted you to do a Zoom call. So if you can kind of elaborate, that'd be great. Biscuit Butt says, next time a rep tells me I can't read English today. Next time a rep tells me they see I've been on eBay for 23 years, I'm going to say, not bad for someone that's 25. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see. Marcy says the call was for feedback. But yeah, I'm curious that they just randomly chose you for the call and to give them your perspective, or if it's something that you've dealt with before, they contacted you before. I'm sort of curious. Like, for instance, Joe from the Crazy New York Driver channel, he has, of course, contacts at eBay, and they're constantly contacting him, involving him in some things behind the scenes that he doesn't reveal until he's allowed to, that type of thing. Of course, I doubt this channel will ever get that status because honestly, I'm not, and I don't think he does, but I'm not the cheerleader for eBay that I think they would like to see me be. Now, they never come out and told me like cease and desist the way you're talking about us, but I'm being honest. If anything, I have no skin in the game to dog eBay at all. I want to see them succeed, because if they succeed, we're all going to. And a lot of the feedback that we're trying to get across to them is, from our perspective, going to allow us to succeed. And if we succeed as sellers, then eBay is going to succeed by being able to collect more fees, right? Captain Photon says, I never send offers to buyers, and I did this weekend, got 2 sales, 2 days, and still haven't paid. Yeah. And again, that last sentence kind of ties into what I'm saying. You would have 2 sales with 2 payments if eBay would just follow through with their promises. We're not asking for the world here. And I harp on this all the time, but it's a glaring example of the lack of customer care that they have for the sellers, that you come out, make this announcement that we're working hard on getting you the best offer, instant payment, and we're going to have it in place very soon, and we're going to have auctions behind it, and you get 2 sales and you're still waiting to get paid. It has to be tied in. If you're giving somebody a discount, why are they allowed to wait, but your customers who are paying full price have to pay right now? It just is something that drives me bananas, and I don't understand. It's glaring, and it tells me everything I need to know. They can come out and smile and say, you know, we're having seller day here, seller appreciation, or whatever it is. Seller appreciation for me is just to do the things we ask you to do. That's what I'm looking for. Joseph Wohler 2, becoming a top-rated seller was based 90% on actions to please the customer, but it's only 10% profit margin that eBay cares about when deciding to yank your status. Yeah, it is. And the thing is, they won't even consider if you had some circumstances. Maybe you had to spend a few days in the hospital. Maybe something, maybe you had some defects because you weren't able to handle it. And it's like they treat everyone in the same mold, and there's no exceptions for things that maybe come up in life. All you can do is just try to move past it and try to get that status back if you can. I always send offers, 99% pay. Sometimes they take the 4 days allowed. And, I had one today. I had one where I had an item that was relatively heavy. I was charging calculated shipping, fairly low price. They came in, they made an offer on the item. I had 2 of them. I said, fine, I'll take the offer. And 5 days passed, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that item. Went back in, and I just canceled it, and I'm moving on. Of course, you go in and block the buyer, that type of thing. And again, we don't know if eBay is doing anything about it. It's highly doubtful that they are. They'll claim up and down that they are. But, you and I continue to see this happen. And when does it end? I don't know. But again, and all this comes off as just a large complaint. Like, all I'm doing is complaining. I want to be able to cheer for eBay and say, great job, guys. But it's hard to. And, I don't know if I'm just the only one seeing it the way I'm seeing it, but it gets old after a while. Let me put it that way. But again, like I said at the beginning of the video, we have to be able to pick ourselves up and just keep knowing that that's the case, knowing how eBay really looks at us, and we have to treat it as a business and work within whatever rules and whatever lister they're giving us, whatever tools they're giving us or not giving us, whatever policies they're changing. We have to continue to mold our business around what eBay does or does not do. And we just have to accept it. Biff Buffo says, eBay still presents great value for the traffic. A brick and mortar auction house typically has 20 to 25% seller premium. And look, there's a lot of people who will leave messages that they call them fee-bay, right? Because eBay, they have their base 12.9% for most categories, plus 30 cents, plus whatever they coerce you into promoting, whether they want you to promote 5%, 10%. I've seen some categories go as high as like 15% suggested promoted listing, and it adds up. And I can see what you're saying. A brick and mortar auction house has 20 to 25% seller premium off of the base price. So if there's any taxes involved, they're not adding that. If there's any arranged shipping or freight for that item, they're not charging that, because I'm aware of premiums. When I buy liquidation, I deal with premiums, and it's usually like a 10% premium, sometimes 15% above and beyond if you're in like an auction environment, but it's never off of the freight that I have to pay. The freight is totally separate. So there's a lot of things that eBay does that's sort of questionable. It's not within the standard, the industry standard. I guess they're trying to set their own standard. But again, I'm moving on. I'm going to accept that. I'm not going to get too upset about it, because at the end of the day, where else can you said traffic is where it is. Where are you going to go? Mercari is kind of cool, but I've sold literally in the last 2 weeks, I've sold 12 items, really week and a half, 12 items just from cross listing, 12 items I probably wouldn't have moved on eBay, because these are items that I've had sitting around and they haven't had any traction. And here they go. They're selling pretty well, getting a lot of views on these items that I wasn't getting on eBay. And it's just a different type of buyer. So you're dealing with a different type of traffic, but it's traffic. Someone said, hey, I'm going to start my own store. I'm assuming they meant Shopify. And their line of reasoning is because my items are already showing up in Google search. Well, if you start your own store, that doesn't mean your items are going to show up in Google search because you left eBay. eBay is actually paying, and I don't know what arrangement they have with Google, but they're paying to get your items up in Google shopping search, provided you meet Google shopping requirements. And I think people kind of assume that they're going to move on from eBay, have their own Shopify site. You have to be able to pay to provide your own traffic just to get into your site, to show up in Google shopping. And I think that's a lot of things that really things that people don't think about when it comes to this business. That's why I haven't done it, because I realize that I'm going to be paying the same anyway, whether it's through Shopify into Google directly or indirectly through eBay and all their fees. BXX32 sent a guy a die-cast car that apparently arrived damaged in transit. He said, you better give me a partial refund or I open a case and leave a negative. Total nightmare. That is not a total nightmare. That is a blessing in disguise, because if they write you and say, and you quoted, you better give me a partial refund or I open a case and leave a negative, I would say, do your worst, because I know as soon as they leave that negative, I can make reference to the message that due to feedback extortion, please look at the messages that the buyer, and I don't ask for a callback when I'm doing this, because the rep's going to do a poor job of filling out the same form you can on ebay.com. But there's a form you could fill out for feedback removal request, and you simply go in there and find the appropriate reason. Buyer suggested or requested something not including in the listing or whatever it was. I think there may be another option that applies. And you put, this is feedback extortion, which is against the eBay policy. Please go back and review messages from the buyer. They threatened to leave me a negative feedback, which they did, because I did not give them a partial refund. Bottom line, tell them, open a return. I'll take the return. But I'm actually happy when someone leaves me a negative feedback after they've threatened to do so, or threaten me if I don't do X, Y, and Z, they're going to leave me a negative, because that comes off quickly. BXX32, I have 1,100 positive feedback. This clown hasn't done anything yet, probably because he can't leave negative for 7 days. No case open yet. Sent good luck my way. No, there's no good luck about it. See, here's the thing. You look at other sellers. Take time to look at other sellers. Take a look at their feedback and focus on some of these sellers that have negative feedback. I usually can count, I'd say 50% of the negative feedback I'm seeing can be easily removed due to, let's say someone says, look, the item arrived late. Well, if you did everything you could and the postal service was involved in that fiasco and got the item to them late, you have a case to make. Things like this, I wouldn't give them or seller wouldn't give me partial refund. These are instances where you can go to eBay and they will remove it. I got to tell you, over the last year, I've probably received about a dozen negative feedbacks, and I only have one that shows up on my account because I've made a case for each and every one of them per eBay rules. And if you really make a detailed case as to why this person violated eBay policy, 9 times out of 10, if you didn't do anything wrong, I mean, if you did something wrong, you deserve the negative feedback. 9 times out of 10, eBay is going to wipe it away. And I've learned that you don't allow the reps to do it for you, because they're going to fill the same tool out, and they're going to, half the time, they don't fully understand from your perspective as to why the buyer shouldn't have left negative. So good luck, but take that luck and take 10 minutes, go fill out that form. I don't know exactly where the link is, but look for the feedback removal request tool and make a case for yourself. Hawk Feather Story says, I don't mind promoting my listings if I get more traffic. With that being said, sales have been extremely slow and has been for the last few months. I feel like I get penalized for little things. I don't think it's being penalized for little things. I think that you have your items that are for sale, and you have your items that are either high demand or they're low demand. And what I've noticed is the items that I list that happen to still be in high demand, I have no problem selling. But the items that I have that would normally sit for a couple days and then they'd sell are now sitting for weeks because they're just in low demand, and you have a lot of other sellers. So you have a lot of sellers, and now vying, instead of for, let's say in a day, there's 10 people looking for that item. You now have more sellers and there's only 5 people looking for that item. So it's even harder to make a sale. Just hang in there, get more items listed, make it a numbers game if you can. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm dealing with a lot of distractions going on around me. I mean, I guess that's my excuse for the day, but honestly, we just got to adapt. And the way we adapt is maybe change our sourcing if we have the opportunity, maybe pass on that lot that has a lot of stuff that tends to sit, and maybe accept a smaller margin for things that have more demand, if that's even possible for you. The name of the game is just the flip, right? We're not opening a museum. We want to just get these items in and out as fast as possible. And there's a lot of factors involved, but I think demand is one, price is another. I'm finding out title is a huge one. So many aspects to succeeding in this game. Morty, the one says, hello, everyone, made it. Thank you for hanging out with us. What's kind of cool is I'm getting like a different mix of people. There's some people that can hang out with us like almost all the time. And there's other times they just don't show up maybe till the end. And it's just kind of cool to see some new names, and that you're being pretty proactive and active in the chat. So thank you guys for doing that. Let's see. Marcy Lamone says, putting 30 listings in less than 2 days with no sales, I find that discouraging. It is discouraging. Now, in the past, we've been able to get away with just plugging away, making our listings. You got to get in there and start researching. Why is this item been sitting for 30 days? So my daily routine most of the days, provided that I don't have things that really are taking me away from it. One of the last things I do during the day is I'll go through, and any item that is time left before it refreshes into that new 30-day period for fixed price listings, if it's in the time left is in red, like an hour left, 2 hours left, that type of thing, I'll go in, and you guys know I do the right click, sell similar, and then go down end item, because you can't sell similar when there's an existing item. And then I go in, before I launch the listing again, I go in on another search. I have two monitors here in front of me. So I'll have an eBay monitor up here with a search, and I'll search for that item. And I'll look at the items that have sold that meet that criteria. Has it sold at all? Is this a dud item? I mean, am I expecting someone out of the blue to come and buy this item when everyone's listing it and no one's buying it? That's not a good item to have. So maybe I delist that and never list it again and find another way to move it. Has this item received sales in the last 90 days? Maybe consider how many items have sold in the last 90 days. Go back into a search where you're not looking for the solds, just the regular search. How many items am I competing against? So now going back to the ones that have sold, what have they done differently in their listings that were allowed them to get the sale? Is it the price? Maybe their title is better than mine. Maybe their photos are better than mine. So try to emulate what the successful sellers are doing. That's why I got caught in this rut. And I have a bad habit of this is I'll find a sold item. I'm selling this item. I'm looking for research to find, what this item goes for, find a sold item, and I'll do a sell similar. And a lot of times I'll leave the title initially the way it is, because I figure they were able to sell their item with this title. And unless I have a better title, I'll usually let it default. Sometimes that gets me into trouble. And it's a bad habit that I have. That's why I say it's a bad habit. It's a really lazy way to list sometimes. It's better to try to optimize your title, but use those sold listings to figure out what you're doing wrong with your current listings that you're listing. Because there's only one or two things. Either there's no demand for your item, or there's something wrong with your listings. So, it's either one or the other. Let's see. Simplify 1918's in the house. Thank you for hanging out with us. I certainly appreciate it. We also got Ricardo. Thank you for hanging out from Orange County. Love the weather in Orange County. It's probably in the mid 80s right now, and you're only maybe a 20-minute drive away from the ocean. So that's nothing to get upset about. Marty the One says Mercari's really took off, me getting more sales on there to make up for eBay. And I would like to sit here and tell you that it's because I have a video deal with Prime Lister, and I made a video on their behalf, and got to get over there and sign up right now. If I wasn't making any sales, I wouldn't even talk about it. Honestly, I wouldn't say don't go and sign up for them, but I'm making sales. I actually packed up 4 Mercari items this morning for my carrier to come pick up. Actually, I still have 3 of the items here, the UPS ground, that I have to go drop off. And it's just, when you're slow, see, if everything's great, you don't really care so much about cross listing. But right now, things aren't great for a lot of sellers. So you got to try to find more ways. Promoted listing is one way to try to get your items in front of more eyes, higher up in search. But also a cross listing tool will help as well. If you like clothing or shoes, maybe Poshmark. And I do have clothing and shoes, and I'm still not getting that cross posted over there because still working primarily on Mercari. But it's definitely, and you can do it all at once. You can have it cross post Mercari and Posh at the same time. But I prefer just to focus on a second site first, get as many listings that I really want on Mercari before I get to a Poshmark cross posting type situation. So check out one of my videos. I don't have it. I guess I can kind of work on that now while I talk to you. It'd be really distracting to try to do that. But really use my link. It's down below. Hopefully by the time you see this video, or by the time we're done with this live stream, use my link to get yourself a 2-week period for free. You'll be able to go in and try it out without a credit card. And you can evaluate, is this something that you want to do? And if it's something you want to do, then go in there and you get 30% off for your first month. And I think there's a number of people that have already signed up. Go ahead. I just added my links. Hopefully it's there pretty soon, but go down below, click on the link, give it a try. And if it doesn't work for you, if it's something you're not going to use, then you don't have to do anything because they don't have your credit card. And, maybe they give you 100 listings to try out for free, Prime Lister, and go ahead and give it a shot. Add 100 items to your Mercari with no intention on buying the service. But definitely click the link down below to give it a shot. Let's see. We got Jeff in the house. Jeff Doris from formerly known, the artist formerly known as eBay Addicts is in the house. And hit that like button, please. And thanks, Jeff, for hanging out with us today. We've got about 81 people that are with us, and it's pretty awesome that you can make it. You're my friend, and I thank you for taking the time today. I really do. I need to figure out how I can get my YouTube account changed to show Savage Pickers. I'm afraid I might lose all my saved channels. That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. I was going to ask you because you always say Savage Pickers here, and it's Hawk Feather Stories. I was wondering why you just don't just change it over, but I guess that explains it. So thanks for reading my mind today. Tommy's in the house, the Tommy Bernard podcast. Zoom meeting are legit. They want feedback and talk about promoted listings. Yeah, I just don't know how they go about selecting. Is it just random sellers, or is do they look at certain type of sellers? Is it a seller that sells in one of their promoted categories like eBay Motors, shoes, watches, that type of thing, or is it just random sellers they select? But real quick, while I have you, I do have to apologize to you. I did put a little link in the last live stream, but you were correct. When I went back and looked at it, I was talking to Archie Biscuit Butt after the live stream, and we were looking at that setting. The setting that I'm talking about that I made a mistake on is the idea that we can go in and say 5 feedback or less. We can basically tell eBay we don't want to do business with them and select that. And you were right. It's not that at all. It's if you want to select one of the options used to determine if you'll accept a bid or a purchase from a buyer, that's one of the sub options that, if they have 5% or 5 feedback, 4 feedback, 3 feedback. So we don't even have the kind of control over our accounts to go in and tell eBay, look, I don't want to deal with any 0 feedback buyers. I mean, just across the board. There's a lot of sellers out there who don't want to deal with 0 feedback buyers, and there is no setting, like Tommy was telling you last week, and I read that totally wrong, so I own up to that. There is no way to do that. And how much control do we really have over our business? That's kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. And will it ever change? I don't know if that'll ever change. Gail's in the house. Hello, John. My sales go in batches. I'm a niche seller, and this is probably, I don't know who this is, but probably is the real estate agent. But hello, John. My sales go in batches. I'm a niche seller, and I find that with my patches too. You just got to keep being active, keep sending coupons if you have coupons to stimulate sales, that kind of thing. I had mentioned earlier in the live stream that I'm dealing with some distractions. I'll share it with you because I'm an open book. I'm going to be moving here in the next less than 2 months. And our lease came to an end. We've been here for a couple of years, and they notified us that, hey, you're going to need to find a different place because we're selling the house. And so when I moved to Vegas, we came from California, and we didn't know if we were going to like it out here. And we still kind of do, but it's a bad market to buy, right? And Archie's starting to call me now, and he knows I'm the live stream, so I don't know what he's talking about here. But maybe he can, Archie, if you can text me if you're watching me, that's great, but I can't answer your call right now. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm dealing with. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that is a distraction, right? And so, I can sit here and say, woe is me, but that's life, right? We're dealing with distractions in life, and I'm no exception to that rule. So, we're going to keep providing videos, keep providing coverage. But if you ever see that we're maybe at a different location, that'll kind of help you understand what's going on. Ricardo says, no promotions, listings are here, and sales are very steady. Everything depends on what you're selling and the competition. Stupid. Archie just sent me a text saying, I just wanted to hear my name on your phone. So he was able to do that. I have these iPhones. You guys have your iPhone set up to where the first name it tries to, or the name itself of the person in the contact list, it announces. And I guess he just wanted he wanted to hear more than me say his name. So there you go. Gail Carlson, I did 2% and my sales seemed to increase, but it could have been that time of the week for sales to pick up. And it's just hard to say. It could be the items that you've listed, right? So many times I have items sitting in my garage. I finally get to them. They sell like hotcakes. And you're like, wow, if I just listed these a couple weeks ago, I would have sold them a while ago, but maybe not. Maybe it's just that buyer came up once you listed it. So keep listing. It's a numbers game. Keep your head up. Don't let this get you down. If you look at my numbers, it would bring you down. Let me put it that way. Ricardo says the title is very important. However, how does anyone really know what keywords are used by the buyers 100% of the time? And the title is very important. However, how does anyone really know what keywords? Well, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. So you have this item, okay? Short of knowing the model number, I guess for clothing, they have names for different kinds of shirts and stuff like that. What would you type into search to find your item? And okay, yeah, that's a real estate agent wanting to show us a place. What keywords would you type in? And let's say limit to 5. Okay, if you're trying to find that headset, if you're trying to find that pair of pants, what would you type in to find that item? And that's what you need to focus on. And I'm almost convinced, and I've been doing a lot of research on this, and when I release the video that I'm making, you guys are going to think I'm absolutely 100% crazy for doing it, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm starting to find that if you are using a brand name in the first 5 words of your title, and it's not a big-time brand name, one that a buyer is going to use to look for your item, you are doing yourself a disservice. It should not be in your title. And if you must put it in your title, put it at the very end, because I've done some research to the same items. Okay. One with the brand name at the beginning, along with a model number. Now, also remember, model number shouldn't be in your first 5 letters, first 5 words either, because most buyers don't even know what the model number is. Okay. And they're not going to be searching for the model number. So get that brand name and that model number out of the title or at the back of the title. Get those first 5 words of your listing. And I have to go through a lot of my listings to do this. Get the first 5 words of your title closer to what a buyer would search for. If you have that off-brand name, whatever, if you have, this has been defunct for a while, but unless they're looking for vintage shoes, if they're coming in looking, if you're putting your title Pro Wings, right, for shoes, most people aren't searching for Pro Wings. That's so 1990s and earlier. For those of you, I just aged myself. It's a Payless brand shoe. Nobody's looking for that. But on the flip side of that coin, you got people looking for Nike. You got people looking for Adidas. And if you're in Europe, it's Adidas. They're looking for those shoes. So you want to put that in the first 5 letters of your title, right? But there's a lot of brands out there that may seem like popular brands, but aren't being searched for by buyers. So you really need to be sort of mindful of that and go back through your listings. I'm telling you right now, that's very, very important. I did some research, been doing research, and I'm starting to find that's what's happening. Your title is more important than I think I even gave it credit for. Let's see. Thank you, John. Stay careful in that heat. I'm staying inside in this heat. As far as I'm going out tomorrow to meet Archie to pick up a pallet that we've went in halves on. But aside from that, I'm getting my butt home and getting inside. But of course, here we come. Got a month and a half moving in this heat. It's going to be very, very, very fun. But Gail says, I remember my days at Nellis, 110 degrees outside, 130 on the tarmac. Yeah, it's like an oven. And I definitely wouldn't want to be someone out there right now. It's just crazy. Let's see. Marcy says, it says chat with an expert to the left when you're listening. It's funny. When you go and ask for a callback, you have to select like that you're a buyer at some point, because they have on every option as a seller to request a callback, they want you to check the forums or check with other sellers to get expert information. It's like, the chat's not even available. And I don't know if I would even trust the chat, to be honest with you. You have to go into the buyer side and say, I want to know how to buy an item before you can get a callback. That's a little secret that I have to get someone on the phone. But even then, you're going to get the bare bones, and you're not going to get someone that's really going to be able to help you. Let's see. What do you think is eBay's biggest spending demographic? I've done some thoughts, no research. I've been just thinking about this, and that is, I think it's the people who know that they can buy it full retail, let's say for $100 at the mall or Best Buy, but they're price sensitive, and so they look to eBay to see if they can get it cheaper than what they can get it for maybe on Amazon full retail. And I think that's what is still, it's always been, in my opinion, a big part of the demographic. And I think your price sensitive buyer is definitely someone who's searching for your item right now and looking for a deal. Let's see. Hot Flip Heidi says, so Tommy's in the chat helping people. So thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. If I tried a few different title formats in same category, would I choose the title that gets the most searches? If so, that's genius. There's a software that contacted me. It's a very popular software, Zeek Analytics. They contacted me. They wanted me to sponsor their software, and they gave me the free trial, and I tried it out. And I thought, this is a genius software, because you can go in and, okay, I'm selling, let's say I'm selling speakers, Bluetooth speakers, but my Bluetooth speakers aren't selling very well. Maybe I can go in and type Bluetooth speakers and see what my competition is using for a title, and maybe use those words in my title. Of course, you're not misrepresenting your specific Bluetooth speaker. You want to make sure you are still representing the correct features in your title of the item you're selling. But you can go in and see, they're using this verbiage or using that verbiage. They're getting a lot of sales, and you can then incorporate that into your listing. I did not go with their sponsorship offer, not because they're bad software. I just think because for what everyday sellers like you and I, it wouldn't be ideal. It's great for people who are doing research to maybe buy directly from China or doing drop shipping, and not so much for people who are just trying to take that item they just picked up at the yard sale and finding the most optimal way to list that item. For me, that would be a lot of work to go in item by item by item on a tool like Zeek Analytics, to go in to try to fix this title, and then I got to go fix this title. But if you have a lot of the same product, or maybe a lot of replenishables that are just sitting there, you've got 100 of this item and you haven't been able to sell it, spend the time to find out why that listing is slow. And once you get the title tweaked or the photos tweaked or whatever it is that's holding that listing back, then you're going to start seeing sales. Provided that item's already selling. If nobody's selling that item, then it's going to be, sitting there anyway. Cat Yak, I'm not even going to continue. It's Cat Yak 007. I know I butchered the hell of it, but I'm sorry. I just I have one contact in, and I just don't want to butcher it anymore. So I apologize. How to be an ambitious towards profit. I have over 1,000 items on 5 platforms, yet my profit is barely paying my bills. When times are good, you don't need a lot of items in your store. You're constantly going through. 2019, I made over $100,000 in sales on one account on eBay with only a 200 item store. Now you can't do that. You have to get more value, get more money into your store, get more items into your store as a result of listing more. And so you have 1,000. If you have the room, if you have the ability, get more items on your store, and you're basically playing a numbers game. So if based on a 1,000 item store, you're at 20% lower sales than before, well, on a 2,000 item store, you're going to still be at 20% less sales for that size of a store, which is going to yield you more sales than you're getting now, if that makes sense. It's just a numbers game. If I try to play the 200 item store that I played back in 2019, I wouldn't make half of what I made in 2019. It's just a total numbers game, and you have to look at it that way. Let's see. I'm getting way behind you guys, so let me try to hurry up here. Susan Flueling, greetings from Canada. Thanks for all the great practical advice. Your station is the best. Thank you. Appreciate you tuning in and commenting. I certainly like to see new faces, new names pop up in the chat. So thank you for hanging out with us today. Doug says eBay in the UK here allows buyers to accept a sent offer, take up to 4 days to pay. Offers valid 48 hours. If that's the same in the States, it sounds correct to me. You send out an offer and the buyer doesn't respond to it. You get a little thing that pops up that'll say offer expired or something like that. And I'll get kind of panicking and like, oh, did I miss an offer from a buyer? And it's the buyer who allowed it to expire. Tommy says, been rumored for years eBay has their own bots to send offers, bid in auctions, then don't pay to affiliate at the general market value. Is that right, GMV? Maybe I'm out of touch on what that means, but I get the point. That could be. We're talking about technology, right? It's becoming more known now, the whole Twitter thing with the whole Elon Musk. Big deal was bots, right? How much of that business was bots driven rather than customer driven? Is eBay in the same boat here? Are they using more bots to drive traffic and I'm not insinuating that they are, I'm asking the question. Are they doing that to maybe make their business model look a little bit better than it is? I don't know, but it's definitely interesting question. Biff Boffo says, if people don't game the system by selling a $60 item for $1 plus 59 shipping, then eBay wouldn't have to have that charge of fees on shipping. I don't know if I've never heard of anyone gaming it. I know that they used to game it on the final value fee, and that's what caused them to charge the final value fee on top of that. And I guess the whole promoted listings offer your shipping is the change that happened last month on the 1st of June is maybe an extension of that. I'd like to think it's more of just of a reason for them to maybe ease in the full extent of their fees. So when they first announced, promoted listings, we're going to promote it just off the item price and not the shipping. And then they'll ease that extra fee in so they can increase or show that they're bringing in more fees to their shareholders. Gail says she just did her first international ship through pirate ship and very easy, and it's really great. You end up sending the item to California to pirate ships. It's a lot like global shipping. You send it to their facility, and I don't know if they repackage it. They definitely relabel it and send it off to the international address. So it's pretty good, pretty easy. Art Betzold says, when you have to cancel for non-payment, what do you put as a reason? Do not see a place to answer on non-payment. You have to wait the 4 days. So if the buyer doesn't pay after 4 days, it will add the buyer did not pay option to the other three, out of stock, address issue. I think there's only the two. Oh yeah. Out of stock, address, and buyer requests to cancel. It'll add that to that drop down. Tommy says, I pay an average of 28% total for fees and shipping labels. That's nothing for the traffic and sale eBay produces. So is that 28%? That's including your final value fee, the 30 cent, whatever fee they call that, and the promoted listing rate. That's pretty hefty. And your margins are probably a little lower than normal, but you're getting more, you're churning your items more. And so it's, again, are we waiting for that unicorn buyer? Or are we just going to accept, an acceptable margin and just, continually churn items out? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty awesome. It's something I'm leaning towards doing more of, because do I want to wait for instance, if I have this $40 item and, I'm only promoting it 2%, and had I promoted it 10%, I would have sold it. Yeah, I would have sold it and made less, but it's gone, and I can buy something better if it's that questionable of an item, rather than sitting on it and waiting for that unicorn buyer that I did a video about. And I think a lot of us really are set wanting a certain price, and we have to be really honest with ourselves that I think we're expecting more than what the market is really ready to pay. The market's great. You can hold out, right? But if it's not like it is right now, it's harder to hold out. Dr. Green Thumb says, I had a buyer promise to remove feedback if I gave them a refund. Big surprise, they didn't. Spoke with eBay and they went into the messages, verified and removed instantly. So yes, they will go back and look at it. You just have to, I would encourage all buyers to please threaten to leave me negative feedback if I don't do X, Y, and Z. Please do that, because I will get it removed almost every time. Let's see. So Dr. G, if you didn't agree to the extortion, do you think eBay would have also removed the feedback? 100%. The moment the buyer mentions or hints to that they are going to do X, Y, and Z, if you don't do what they want you to do, or leave negative feedback if you don't do what they want you to do, then certainly they'll go through and remove it. Let's see. Try to get to some of your questions more recent here. Dr. Greensub says, they didn't extort. It happens so rarely that I just refund to make it go away, but I always get agreement on feedback to change first. You know what? This is what they want you to do. That's what the buyer wants you to do. And they know that some sellers will just say, here's your money, leave me alone. I think the mindset we have is it's not worth our time. And while I see that side of the coin, I understand why we would say it's not worth our time. We've got other things to focus on. I think collectively, if we do that, it's just sort of creating an environment where buyers know that this is now the norm, and they're going to increase that level of behavior. And when does it end? So that's why I say, open a return. If you have a problem with the item, open the return. We have a return policy. You should never have a no returns policy. It doesn't exist, because a buyer will always gravitate towards item not as described if they really want to return it bad enough, and you're on hook for that return anyway. So whether it's paid for or free returns, have a return policy and refer your buyer to that return policy. Now, if you screwed up, if you can verify you screwed up, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I made a mistake. If you can still use the item, give you $10 back. If you're willing to work with, I'm assuming it's like a $20, $30 item, whatever. And a lot of times buyers are reasonable and say, you know what, that'll work for me. Okay. But if they come to you and they say, you know what, X, Y, and Z is wrong with the item, in my opinion, and I want you to give me a partial refund, or you're going to get a negative. Well, my first thought is, well, if something's wrong with the item, why would you want it? Why would you want to keep it if there's a problem with it? So I don't entertain requests from buyers. I always offer a refund, a return option only if I don't initiate that offer. Let's see. Captain Photon says, hey, at least you don't live in Colorado. Everything delivered now here is 27 cents off the top. Wow, lawsuits are already filed. Like to know more about that. that's interesting. Let's see, we got here. So Marcy says, is doing a Zoom meeting with eBay beneficial in any way? I guess I'll never know. I won't know either. I mean, the moment I ask them to answer a question about how negative feedback impacts your account, they totally ghosted me. So, I guess it's random, but if you guys happen to know, I'd like to know that as well. This is interesting to know. Tommy says, it takes no time to change YouTube channel name. It doesn't take away subscriber list or anything in the mobile app. Just tap your profile picture and there's the instructions there. So definitely interesting. If you have a YouTube channel, you want to change it. Maybe you want to get more creative with your name. That's definitely a way to do it. Tommy says, so many landlords are selling and tossing people out with nowhere to go. It's sad. I mean, anywhere I go right now, I'm going to end up paying at least $300 to $400 a month more for a comparable place. And it's not like they're not out there. They're fairly abundant. I mean, I went on to one of the apps and said, okay, I'm interested in this property. Less than an hour later, you guys heard the phone call. I got a text saying, are you still interested in this address or in this property? If people were lining up the way they were 3 years ago, because when I moved to Vegas, I'll tell you a little story if you guys want to hear it. I was in California looking to relocate to Vegas because there's no state taxes, right? And starting a business, I don't want to be bogged down with like 10% California state taxes. And you're getting absolute, it's like eBay, right? You're getting nothing for the additional amount that you pay. So we decided it would be a better environment. Let's move to Las Vegas, not because we're gambling addicts. I like to play poker. I like to go to the casino and check out shows and go do the things that people do that are locals, but I don't have a gambling problem. So it's not an issue for me. So we came out to Vegas and we didn't know if we wanted to buy a house here because, last thing you want to do is go out and buy a house. And 2 months later, you're like, I absolutely can't stand it here. So we rented, but I made 2 trips out here from California to look at houses. And I found a bunch of them that I liked, but I was like the 5th person on every one of them, 5th person on the list, the waiting list. And so it got to the point where we're back in California going, I don't know how we're going to get a place out there unless we grab one of these listings that just pop up on the app, just trusting the photos that they're going to give you on the app and not going there to see it firsthand. So we did that and we found a place. We moved in. We didn't like the house and we waited a year, found a better house. We really like this place. Been here 2 years, planning on staying longer, and it just didn't work out. And I'm pleasantly surprised that this realtor got back to me so quickly because there's a wait list. They would probably send me an email saying, hey, you're 5th on the list and we'll get to you if something happens. So it's sad that there's people out there with nowhere to go. They can barely afford the house that they're in. And now they have to move and it's more. And it's horrible. And that's why I'm always looking at, my mindset every day is how to make money. I'm looking at various ways to make money. My wife works, the benefits are something that she's working mainly for, but the money that she brings in is definitely a godsend on that. So Flipping Goodies in the house and saying hey to Tommy, not saying hey to me, but hey, I won't take offense to that. But thanks for hanging out with us. Prairie Pond says Hawk Feather Stories top. Okay, it says more help on the channel name if you guys want help on that. Sean Krisky says Las Vegas is Sin City. If you got some problems, if you've got some addictions, this is definitely not the place to be. If you're one of the locals like me, we try to get as far away from the strip, and it's a totally different world. And some of the places I'm looking for are even further away from the strip, if that's even possible. But it's a couple that we're looking at that's kind of like really on the outskirts, but we're happy with it if we can get one of these places. Tommy says 62% male, biggest age group is 18 to 24. I found out a few months ago, which is shocking, and I'm not sure if I believed it. I think that you're talking about the demographics to eBay, that type of thing. If that's the case, then I don't know if I believe it either, because I always thought you have your people who, since the inception of the internet, here's eBay, and this is kind of all we knew 20 years ago. And this is kind of like a go-to. I always thought that it was something different than that as well. Your sites like Whatnot, those to me would gravitate towards the younger audience, I think. Let's see. Sean says sharing your eBay listings on your Facebook and other places like Pinterest and Tumblr are all those great ways to promote your listings for free. It certainly is. That's the thing. If you're niched out, if you are in a niche where you have just one type of item or a general category, then that makes more sense. If you sell everything, it's like, well, come and find everything at my store. I wouldn't get too many people looking, I don't think. Let's see here. Peter says, I've always been 100% feedback, but I'm banned for non-payment. Never heard non-payment, but I'm flagged, no bids allowed. So did someone use your account, family member, or were you maybe shopping for an item and just forgot about it, that you maybe placed a bid? Certainly, if that's the case, I mean, eBay's taken action against buyers, but it's been my experience that buyers aren't treated that way on the first or even second non-payment. But as Heidi says, call eBay and use the eBay for Business on Facebook. Use the Messenger app. Send them a message and ask them to explain what happened, what you did. Tommy says, Archie has been trying to tell people for 2 years to stop trying the 1% to 2% crap. It's business. We're here to sell. And yeah, I'm a stubborn guy myself. Always trying to get as much as I can. And it's just really recently, the last few weeks, I'm starting to realize that, if you are going to play near the bottom, you're going to be down with all the other people who are playing at the bottom. There's a lot of people who do not want to promote their listings, but realize they have to. So they're going to set the bare minimum. And if you're willing to bring yourself into more competition, then that's how you do it. Just do what everyone else is doing. So how you separate yourself from other sellers is to do things differently. And we talk about the obvious: have good photos, have complete listings, have good prices. But if you're using promoted listings, you got to use that differently as well. Jessica says, I noticed a big jump in sales going through items every 6 weeks and unlisting it, then doing sell similar, list again, huge uptick in sales. eBay sees it as, that's exactly what I do every day. I do that every day. And because I have a 700 item store, it's usually about 15 to 20 items a day that I'm doing that with. It takes a little while. I incorporated the cross-listing side to it, but it works. And then Tommy says just what I said, every 30 days before it auto relists. If it flips, it ships. As I went back to work now, I need to find a good woman to work the store. Well, good luck with that. It's eBay isn't for everyone. So you might find someone that's totally awesome, but they're going to look at you sideways the moment you say, I need you to run this business, because it's definitely not for everyone. Biscuit Butt says, John, everything happens for a reason. Who's probably the best. The good Lord has your back, brother. Thank you. I know. And that's why I'm at peace with it. That's why I'm not stressed about it. I know I have my work cut out for me. I'm too old to move in this heat. But you know what? We're going to work everything around it. We're going to work the channel around it. We're going to work the eBay business around it. And my wife's working. She's going to be doing her 9 to 5, and we're going to be moving around that. So, hey, it is what it is. If I like late August show up looking like a wreck, you guys know why. Tommy says, according to Q1 2022 results, they break down demographics in each quarter. I can't put a link. eDesk keeps track of that stuff. Only 1.5% of all eBay's traffic comes from social media. People hate leaving platforms. Let's see. Kid Wilson says, I've survived 6 months selling on eBay. Lots of ramen noodles. I have no kids or pets or car payments, or barely making it. Love being my own boss. And there's no price you can pay for that. You can have a $100,000 a year job and feel like you have it made, but dread every day going into work because one or two people make your life miserable. And there's been many times that And I ran my own department and management. Everything's good, but you have to deal with these people, and it just takes the joy out of the opportunity to run a department and things like that. And there's something that really can't be said about making it when you don't have to answer to anyone. So that's quite awesome. And Ann Austin's in the house. She's asking Tommy, "Do you promote?" And nobody cares what I promote, but okay. But no, I digress. Ann says yes, trending plus 3.5%. So that can be quite high in some categories. Some categories I've seen are over 10%. So guys, we're about an hour and 15 minutes in. This is kind of usually what we do here. And I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. Wanted to leave you with something. Where's my notes here? How many of you guys, and maybe won't have time for this here right now, but see the glitch on eBay? It's the ghost offers glitch. And it's, I'll go through all my stuff on eBay, and then I'll go and click on the overview, and I'll like, oh, got a pending offer. Click on it, and there's nothing there. And it happens all the time. And I try to stay on top of my account. Is it just happening to me? Is eBay, trying to punk me or something? It just kind of makes me laugh, because more than half the time there's nothing there. So let me know if you guys ever see anything like that. I'm curious, and you probably won't have time to really do it in the chat because we're winding down. But comment down below if you're watching this after the fact. I'm curious if you have. So guys, accepting this platform that eBay has given us, we have to accept it because this is where it's at. If there was a better alternative, people ask me all the time, is there going to be a site, or can someone create a site that's going to be everything that eBay is except for all the BS? And that's not going to happen. It's really, it may happen, but I don't foresee it. This is what we have to deal with, and we can't wait. Sit back and wait for the knight in shining armor to come and create a better platform. So this is what we have, and you always need to go where the traffic is, and that's why I'm still here. And dealing with the things that eBay requires the sellers to deal with. These are all just more signs of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great start to your week. Get motivated. Get out there and increase the value of your store. And let's together get through this summer slowdown. But until the next video, you guys have a great week.